Hello everyone, happy Saturday. So I am posting this story on Saturday instead of Friday, but I wanted to thank you so much for being patient. I just had a long Friday and needed a little bit of a break. But thank you for joining me for Storytime with Moonie, where I read short stories every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for littles in every community. You can follow me on Instagram at Moonie the Space Kitty, Moonie the Space Kitty SFW, or Storytime with Moonie. The only difference between the profiles are the tags that I use. Through the profiles, you'll have access to the items I sell in my little shop. Now grab your stuffy and get real comfy. Tonight's story is The Frog Prince. There was once a princess with a smile more dazzling than the sun. She lived with her father, the king, in a palace surrounded by thick woods. When the weather was very hot, the princess would walk into the shade of the forest and sit by a pond. There she would take out her favorite toy, a golden ball that her father had given her. Over and over she would throw it up into the air and catch it again. One day, the ball slipped from her hand and fell into the pond with a splash. The pond was so deep she couldn't see the bottom. "My beautiful golden ball," sobbed the princess. She cried as if her heart would break. Her tears drip dropping into the water. The princess thought her favorite toy was lost forever. An ugly speckled frog popped his head out of the water. "Why are you crying?" he asked. "I have dropped my precious golden ball into the water," she cried. "What will you give me if I fetch it back for you?" asked the frog. "You may have my jewels and pearls, even the crown on my head," sobbed the unhappy princess. "I don't need any of those things," said the frog. "If you promise to care for me and be my friend, let me share food from your plate and sleep on your pillow, then I will bring back your golden ball." "I promise," said the princess, but she didn't really mean it. As the frog swam down into the murky water, she thought, "He's only a silly old frog. I won't have to do any of those things." When the frog swam back up with the ball, she snatched it from him and ran all the way back to the palace. That evening, the princess was having dinner with her family when there was a knock at the door. "Princess, let me in," called a croaky voice. When the princess went to open the door, she was horrified to find the speckled frog sitting in a puddle of water. She slammed the door and hurried back to the table. "Why do you look like you're so frightened?" asked the king. "Was it a witch?" "No, father, it was a frog," replied the princess. "What does the frog want with you?" asked the puzzled king. The princess told her father all about losing the ball and the promise she had made to the frog. "Princesses always keep their promises, my dear," insisted the king. "Let the frog in. Make him welcome." The princess did as she was told. As soon as the frog hopped through the door, he asked to be lifted up onto the princess's plate so that he could share her food. When the frog saw the look of disgust on the princess's face, he sang, "Princess, princess, fair and sweet, you made a special vow to be my friend and share your food, so don't forget it now." The king was annoyed to see his daughter acting so rudely. "This frog helped you when you were in trouble," he said. "You made him a promise, and now you must keep it." The princess had no choice. She lifted the damp frog onto her plate and watched as he nibbled at her food. For the rest of the evening, the frog followed the princess everywhere she went. She hoped that he would go back to his pond when it was time for bed, but he did not. When the darkness fell, the frog yawned and stretched. "I am tired," he said. "Take me to your room and let me sleep on your silk pillow." The princess was horrified. "No, I won't," she said. "Go back to your pond, you slimy creature, and leave me alone." The patient frog sang, "Princess, princess, fair and sweet, you made a special vow to be my friend and share your food, so don't forget it now." The princess had no choice but to take him to her room. She couldn't bear the thought of sleeping next to him, though, so instead of placing him on her pillow, she put him in the corner of the floor. Then she climbed into her bed, laid her head down on the pillow, and went to sleep. After a while, the frog jumped onto the bed. "It's drafty on the floor. Let me sleep on your pillow, as you promised," he said. The sleepy princess felt more annoyed than ever. She picked up the frog and hurled him across the room, where he landed with a smack on the floor. The frog laid there dazed and helpless. The princess shook herself properly awake and saw the frog still lying still. She was suddenly filled with pity. She couldn't bear the thought that she might have hurt the poor thing. "Oh, you poor darling," she cried, and picked him up and kissed him. The frog transformed into a handsome young prince. "Sweet princess," he cried, "I was bewitched, and your tender kiss has broken the curse." The prince and the princess soon fell in love and were married. They often walked in the shady forest together and sat by the pond, tossing the golden ball back and forth and smiling at how they first met. The end. So that was actually interesting. She was actually really mean to the frog prince. I don't think I've heard it like this before. Maybe I have, but just forgot. But she was really kind of mean. I didn't really like that, but it was a happy ending. So thank you for letting me read to you tonight. I hope you feel safe and I hope you feel loved. Good night, little ones.